Hey everyone, have you ever seen that super cool smart glass and thought, man, that must be complicated to install? Well, I'm here to tell you it's actually way simpler than you'd think. And today, we're going to walk through every single step of wiring it up so you can get that sleek, professional finish all on your own. Let's do this.
Okay, so here's the game plan. First, we're going to pull back the curtain on how this magic glass actually works. Then, we'll get into the power source, the transformer. After that, we'll get our hands dirty with the actual wiring connections. And of course, we'll cover how to make all those wires disappear for a super clean look. To top it all off, we'll even touch on some cool smart home controls. Ready? Let's dive in.
All right, first things first. How in the world does a piece of glass just switch from clear to frosted with the flick of a switch? It feels like magic, right? But it's actually some really cool and surprisingly simple science.
So inside that smart glass or film are these teeny tiny liquid crystals, just floating around. When you flick the power on, zap! An electrical current makes them all snap to attention and line up perfectly straight. This lets light pass right through, and boom, your glass is totally clear. Then when you turn the power off, those crystals just relax and scatter randomly. That mess of crystals scatters the light, making the glass look frosted. Instant privacy, just like that.
And what's really great for a DIY project is how simple the whole setup is. You're not dealing with a million parts. It all boils down to just three main things. You've got the smart glass, or the film, you've got the transformer, that's your power supply, and you've got the wires that connect them. Seriously, that's the whole shebang. Okay, let's talk about the heart of the operation, the power source. Now, the word transformer might sound a little intimidating, maybe, but I promise its job is super straightforward. And most importantly, it's all about keeping things safe. So think of the transformer like a safety valve. It takes that powerful 110-volt current coming from your wall outlet and dials it way, way down to a much lower, much safer voltage that the glass actually needs. It's a crucial step that protects both you and the glass, making sure it gets just the right amount of juice. And get this, you might be worried about your electricity bill, but you'd be amazed at how little power this stuff uses. We're talking just 5 watts for a big 10-square-foot section of glass. To put that in perspective, that's about the same as a single LED light bulb. Yeah, it is incredibly efficient.
Okay, this is the part you've been waiting for. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of wiring. We're going to go over the real, practical steps to get everything hooked up and working.
First up, choosing the right wire. Now, since this is a low-voltage system, technically a super thin 22-gauge wire will do the job. But, and this is a big but, if you're planning to run those wires behind drywall, a lot of building codes are going to require you to use a slightly thicker 18-gauge wire. So, super important, always check your local codes before you buy anything.
Now, here is my favorite part, and probably the biggest relief for anyone doing this themselves. This system uses AC power. So what does that mean for you? It means there's no positive and no negative wire. You can't mix them up. It is literally impossible to hook it up backwards, which just completely eliminates one of the biggest headaches of any electrical project. How awesome is that? All right, so when it's time to actually connect the wires from the glass to the transformer, you've got options, which is great. Heat shrink connectors are fantastic if you want a really secure, moisture-resistant connection. But honestly, the classic twist the wires and tape them up method works too. Or you can use crimp connectors, terminal blocks, even standard wire nuts. You can find all of this stuff at any hardware store, so just pick what you're comfortable with.
Okay, so you've got it working. Awesome! But now, let's talk about making it look professional. Because hiding the wires, that's the real secret to getting that clean, seamless, high-tech look we're all after. Basically, you've got two main scenarios. The absolute easiest way is if you're in the middle of construction. Then you just run the wires right behind the drywall before it goes up, and poof, they're completely invisible. But what if your walls are already finished? No worries. You can use those thin, surface-mounted cable channels. You just stick them on the wall and paint them to match. Or, for a really slick trick, you can use paintable flat wire. It's like a ribbon you stick to the wall, you mud over it, paint it, and it absolutely vanishes. It's pretty amazing.
All right, the wiring is done. It looks fantastic. Now let's get to the really fun stuff. Let's talk about all the different ways you can control your new smart glass and tackle some of those trickier, more creative installations.
One of the first questions people ask is, but can you put it on a door? Something that moves. And the answer is a big resounding yes. There are all kinds of clever wiring solutions made just for this, whether you have a swinging door, a sliding door, you name it. So yeah, that sliding patio door you're thinking of, totally possible. And when it comes to controlling it, you've got so many choices. You can go simple and just use the little remote that comes with it. Or you could wire it up to a regular wall switch, just like a light. But where it gets really cool is when you connect it to your smart home. I mean, just imagine saying, "Hey Google, make the bathroom window private." You can even hook it up to motion sensors, so it frosts over automatically when someone walks in. The possibilities are awesome. And you know what? Hooking it up to a smart home system is surprisingly simple. There's just one golden rule you have to remember: the order. The Wi-Fi smart plug, like a Lutron or whatever you use, plugs into the wall outlet first. Then, the Smartglass transformer plugs into the smart plug, not the other way around. That's the secret. This lets your smart system control the power going to the transformer, which is what gives you that cool voice and app control. And that's really it. From the simple science of how it works all the way to hooking it into your smart home, you now have the full blueprint. You know all the pieces, you know how to wire them, and you know the tricks to make it look like a professional did it. You've got this.
So, I guess there's only one question left to ask. Now that you know exactly how to do it, what are you going to create?
A bathroom window that gives you privacy on demand?
A home office that can feel open or closed off? Maybe a front door that can welcome in the light or shut out the world? The possibilities are endless, and they're all in your hands now.